Good morning. I've sat down to make this video and I really don't know where to start. We're now in October and I'm going to go right the way back to March when a competition was advertised on Facebook, and it was a competition by Jewellerymaker TV, and it was called Britain's Next Gem. And it's a sort of knockout competition that you start with so many and someone gets knocked out, etc., till you obviously end up with someone who's going to win the prize. The prize is a contract to produce your own range of jewellery, using all their expertise, using all their contacts abroad, in India, and their wealth of knowledge. And they can use CAD, they can use all sorts of things which I simply do not have access to at all. So I decided I'd enter this, not knowing what I was going to have to do, not knowing what I was going to have to do, where it would take me, where it would lead. So I applied. I sent in my application. I sent in what they asked for, all the information, the photographs, etc., etc. And then I was invited, along with a lot of other people, to a day where we had to supply. Let me try and explain what we had to do. We had to do a drawing and go with ideas for a project, and you had to take it along with you and explain it and go through it, and they held on to it, but we also had to show that. We had to have a little interview type thing, very casual. When I say interview, it was a very casual chat which made you feel very, very welcoming and very at home. So it wasn't anything heavy at all. And we also had to have a screen test, which I don't think any of us realised before we turned up. But anyway, I got to meet lots of people, lots of really nice people. But at the end of the day, they were only going to choose 6. So I'll move on a step further, because obviously we're a long way back in March. So I got the email to say I had been chosen as one of the 6, and that we would hear we were told that we wouldn't hear for 2 or 3 months, because they had to get, it takes them that long to get in the gemstones, etc., etc. And for various reasons, which I could fully understand, we wouldn't hear for a while. So we didn't hear. We had a full summer and enjoyed our summer. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I had an email to say that we needed to go in. This is the terrifying bit. We needed to go in, and we were going to be on the programme for most of the morning. We had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we had to take our tools, and we would be given something to work with. This is all very well if you're a wire worker or a beader or some genre that similar, but I'm a metalsmith, and I have a whole room of equipment. Now, do I need to take thread in case it was beading gems? Did I need to take my bezel wire, my torch? Anyway, to cut a long story short, all the other ladies turned up with a little box like this. And I turned up with a dirty grey suitcase with hammers in and blowtorch and soldering block and bezel strip and silver. I turned up with a whole caboodle, because you can guarantee if I hadn't have done, there'd have been something I'd have needed on the day. So anyway, the we did all that, and it was last, what day? Like, it was last Wednesday. So this won't go out now until a little bit further along the line, and I'll follow you along with me. So we arrived at 7 o'clock last Wednesday morning. Now, my husband and I, we stayed in a Premier Inn, which was only about 5 minutes away, because we live 2.5, 3 hours journey away, and there's no way we were going to guarantee on the motorways not getting held up and being late, etc. So we stayed in this Premier Inn, and I can honestly say I didn't get one wink of sleep. I was so nervous, and everything. I talk about running away from things that aren't chasing you. I'm not kidding you. It was, oh, suppose this happens, and suppose that happens, da-di-da-di-da. And in the cold light of day, of course, most of those things aren't going to happen anyway. But anyway, I didn't get any sleep because of it. So I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, got myself ready, showered, did all the necessary, and off we went. And my husband dropped me off, and he went to see friends for the morning. So in I go, and I'm not kidding you, hand on heart, those people couldn't have been more friendly, more welcoming, more warm. They did everything to make us feel welcome and to make us feel at home. The studio had been dressed with beautiful balloons and tinsel-y things, I don't know what you call it, and we were given cups, and the girls had put all our names on individually and stuck individually little sparkly gem things on to make our name all sparkly on our cups. They gave us a lovely big work bag, a big tool bag really, with the things in that we could choose to use. Now there were a string of beads, there were a couple of faceted gems, there was a lovely Sleeping Beauty turquoise cabochon, there were diamonds, little tiny diamonds, beautiful. And what else was there? Little diamonds. Can't think, but there was a fair selection. There was a selection good enough so that there was something to suit someone, or everyone. So I honed in on this cabochon, obviously being a metal worker. That was where my comfort zone was really, and I'd taken my bezel strip and take the silver da-di-da. So so then we had to think of something to make under the circumstances that you're on screen. They sell it. Oh, Jewellerymaker TV. I think I probably missed this very crucial bit of information at the beginning. It is a shopping channel for people who don't know and who don't watch. It is a shopping channel with jewellery, gems. In fact, this morning I was watching, and there was a wire bending machine on there, and pliers, and so it's a mishmash of everything. And there'll be something for everybody on there, to be honest with you. So we had to take into account, we were going into this studio, they were going to be talking to us, we'd got to show our pieces at the end. We'd got to be finished by 12 o'clock so that we could show our pieces and present our it was Elle Stevenson that was the lady in charge that day, and she was so lovely, and she did make it very easy for us. So we had to show our pieces, and then they came over to our bench and were selling from our bench, and they joined us all in and everything. But anyway, going back to the morning, we then had to decide what we were going to make, what we were going to use, what we were going to make. Now, I'd taken a load of copper wire with me because I'd got that in every single size, and you could knock it about and bash it. So what I decided to do was a version of my penannular brooch. Now, I don't think I put a video on of me making the penannular brooch. And I'm not sure where I put it. Oh, no, that's annoying. Oh, there it is. Hang on a second. It's there. I can show it to you. Now, this isn't what I made on the day. This is what I'd made previously. I did a little challenge with a friend, really, and we'd seen this on Francesca Watson's Facebook channel, Facebook page. She's a lovely lady and she does some beautiful things. So there we go. If you can see it. Put it closer. Okay. So what penannular means, and I didn't know this, I looked it up. It means a broken circle, which is, if you can see, this doesn't meet. It had a bigger gap in there originally. It seems to have sprung back. But anyway, on this one that I originally made, it's I've twisted 2 pieces of wire together, flattened the ends and soldered on 2 pieces so that this bit don't fall off, really. And for the pin, I just had a straight piece of silver wire, which I flattened at the back and soldered on to my little stone. And yeah, that's obviously bezel set. And let me show you a bit closer. Let's get the light right. There you go. It's ever so pretty. And that's a little tanzanite cabochon that I put in there. So what this does, they called them originally the first safety pin. In the Iron Age, they used to put them in blankets. You know, when they used to throw those old blankets, thick blankets. And what they'd do is they would stick that pin through the blanket, bring this over and slide it round, and that's how they made it. And they still use them a lot in reenactments. So yeah, so they are still around, and there's loads of them on the internet, all different sizes, shapes and sizes, I should say. And they go from very rustic ones, which of course they would have been rustic originally, because those were the times. They didn't have any of this fancy stuff. So what I decided to do was make one of these, but a very plain, because I had very little time, in copper, with my little Sleeping Beauty turquoise bezel set in silver and set on this copper. Well, if anything could go wrong, it went wrong, I tell you. I do have to say, the ladies who were doing the wire weaving, they got their little boxes out and they sat there very prettily, just working away on their wire work, looking very pretty and serene. And there was me. I got the hammer and I was crouched over and I was like old Mother Hubbard working away. Oh, look at you. What a state, I tell you. And then it was, oh, can I go and get some hot water for my pickle? Can I get a bowl of water for my quenching bowl? And it was, can I get this? Can I get that? I spent more time, excuse me, running around getting stuff than I did actually making. I'll swear I did. So anyway, I did my best. I did what I could. Of course, I started banging with the hammer to flatten out these end things. And of course, they were trying to sell stuff. I'm going bang, bang. They'd put me on a glass top table as well, which didn't help. So I'd got my sandbag and my block on top. Bang, 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 and the table was... Well, God, I just felt so conspicuous. I just stopped hammering. So I think because I'd made such a commotion, well, we were to be fair, we were finishing in the studio at between 10 and 11 anyway, to let someone come in and sell jade in the studio. So they took us to this other room. Well, this other room, it had got a fire alarm on the ceiling. I got my torch going, and then I was banging, and everybody else was trying to talk. So all in all, I felt extremely conspicuous. I was the only metal worker there. In the end, there were only 4 of us, actually. Two had dropped out. But so there was 4 of us. There was 2 wire wrappers and a beader and me. With all my industrial equipment, and really not equipped for sitting there looking very pretty on screen and being interviewed. But anyway, they coped with it in one way and another, and so did I, really. But when I was doing my bezel, so it was because I stopped hammering. I thought I'll set the bezel first. I'll make the bezel and the backplate first, and that's quieter. I'll get on with that. Well, because I did that first, I was still in this nervous state. So my hands were shaking. I was trying to put little pallions of solder. You can imagine this, can't you? Little pallions of solder on my bezel, and my hands were shaking. Oh, this is never going to solder. The solder's not even blooming well touching. Anyway, I did what I could, and I got it on, and I'd actually take my bench peg with me, so I screwed that onto another bit of table that was somewhere else, which still again wasn't where my seat was. So I'll swear I looked as though I was absent most of the time. I cut that all out anyway. So at the end, after I'd done my hammering, etc., in this other room, I had soldered this little, there's like a half jump ring thing on the back to enable it to, can you see that? Just to enable it to go around. And I can make one of these if you'd like me to. If you would like me to show you how I made this, then please just leave a comment down below, and I'll make another one for you. But anyway, I soldered that on. I soldered it on beautifully. Everybody was chatting and relaxing. By this time, we'd got pastries and lovely drinks and things. I thought, God, stop. I'll never have any. My big fear was having nothing to show at the end. What would I do if we went back in the studio? Everybody had got their pretty pieces, and I'd got this mangled up piece of wire I had felt so conspicuous about making. So anyway, I did get it on, and I did solder it on. I thought, right, I'll rush now and I'll set this stone. Well, the bezel came off the base plate. I should have realised, because my hands were shaking so much. I just knew that bezel wasn't going to go on properly, and it was on. There weren't any gaps, but as soon as I pushed it, pop. But it didn't come off completely. It was still on partly. So, oh well, do I admit this, or do I just try and wing it? So I don't know. No, come clear. Oh no, my bezel. I told them my bezel wires come away from that way. And of course their first thing was, would some glue fix it? Which of course it wasn't going to, but and I wouldn't have liked to do that anyway, because it's a bit cheating, isn't it? So what I did was, I thought, I'll just press it over where I can. And I was too nervous to press it over properly, because if it had come off altogether, I would have had nothing to show. So I was better off showing it how it was. At least it was partly complete, than going in and saying, well, I just got this bit of wire and that take me 3 hours to do that. So so yeah, I did it best I could, and I'm not kidding you. You know those fluted pies you get? Well, the bezel was set like that, and they took photos for their Facebook page and their Instagram page, and I think they were going to put them on their websites as well. So I very, very sadly handed in not a beauty. I mean, they did this first time at home, to be fair. I mean, and it just went perfectly. But of course, I hadn't got this nice smooth bezel. It was just like a pie crust all the way around. But anyway, the stone stayed in. even though it looked such a mess, and they did manage to balance it so to take a photo, etc. So at the end, so we got through it anyway. I've told you enough about that. That was the circumstances, and we got through it. We got to the end. We went back into this room, and I'm not kidding you. This is what I say about them putting on a lovely spread for us and making us welcome. There was the most beautiful buffet, and all the staff from upstairs came down to meet us and introduce themselves, and they were just all so lovely and so accommodating, and they couldn't do any more for us. They really couldn't. I do have to say, hats off to Jewellerymaker TV. They made it as easy for us as possible. It was me that got myself all wound up. It wasn't their fault, to be honest. So, yeah, so that was last Wednesday. And then we left our pieces there, and to be judged, to see who was going to be eliminated. So we had to go home and wait to hear if we'd been eliminated. Well, I came out of that place. My husband was on the car park waiting for me. I just can't. I'm so disappointed with myself. It's probably the worst piece of jewellery I've ever made in my life, and it was so public. It was in front of everybody. But hey ho, it was what it was, and they were judging you on the day, and they judged what you made on the day. So we went home and waited for the judging, and there's no way everybody had done such pretty little things, and there's no way they're going to choose me. So rattly old wire worker. So anyway, to end, I think I'll end now, because I'm looking at this and I've already waffled for 21 minutes, so I don't want to waffle some more for another 20. So I'll leave it here, and I'll do another video to let you know whether I got through or whether I was eliminated. So that will be on a separate video. And for now, I'll end this. But I hope you enjoyed the story. I haven't just sat and talked to the camera for ages. So that was my little adventure last Wednesday. So we'll wait and see what the outcome is. But I thank you for sticking with me, and I thank you for listening. So we'll wait and see what the next chapter is, if there's going to be a next chapter. So I'll see you very soon. I will come back and tell you whether I got through or whether I got eliminated. I promise you that. So stick around, and I'll let you know the rest of the story. Thanks for listening. Bye.